Hello, La Costa Meadows Kindergarten families. This is Mrs. Burning, and I'd like to share with you a brief introduction into long vowels. Now, as you can see explicitly written on this slide, there's a little caveat, as I mentioned in the earlier video that I shared, that your child should be fluent in reading one-syllable CVC words that have the short vowel for the middle sound before moving on to these next lessons or this information about the long vowel sounds. If your child is feeling comfortable with the CVC words and reading them fluently and comfortably reading sight words and becoming more fluent in their reading, then I suggest moving on to especially this first part on Magic E. So Magic E, it has a couple of different names, maybe Magic E or Sneaky E, or maybe when you were growing up, you might have heard it being referred to as Silent E. We like to have a little fun with the kids, and when they're learning to read these words, as I mentioned in the video, to make a wand or something to use to help with tapping when they add on to that E at the end, how it changes the sound of that vowel from a short vowel sound to a long vowel sound. So I'm going to call it Magic E because it's so magical. So when the letter E is placed at the end of a CVC or consonant vowel consonant word, the first vowel sound changes from a short sound to its long sound. We call this Magic E because the letter E gives its power to the other vowel. It uses up so much magic, though, that it can no longer make its own sound, and the E becomes silent, thus being called or referred to as the silent E. So looking at this example, you'll see pin, in, and that when you add that Magic E to the end, that I becomes a long vowel sound and the E loses its sound. So it does not make a sound. We don't say pine at the end. So just pine. So that E, when it's added on there, ding, it gives all its magic to that I, pine. So here I'm just going to give a couple of examples as I did before. So here we can take this CVC word, can, and you see the picture of the soda can, and transform it by adding the Magic E. Ding! That E makes the A say its name, so now it's cane, cane. Here's another example. Kit will be magically transformed with that Magic E. Ding! So that E gives the I its power, and it becomes an I, and then it loses its sound here at the end, kite. So that's the Magic E. And what it does, as I said before, is it gives that power to that middle vowel sound, or what was formerly that middle vowel sound, and makes it say the long sound or its name, and then it loses any power that it had and cannot make a sound and is thus silent. So that would be the one we would focus more attention on, but I thought I'd share with you some other ways that you can have the long vowel sounds. So moving on, you might see, and next one is about more introducing two-syllable words. So for example, kit and kite are one-syllable words, but we're going to move on into something that would help us with understanding two-syllable words. So open and closed syllables. So we're going to be using the house as a reference. The closed syllables make the short sound, just like our CVC words. It's closed, that vowel is closed in by a consonant at the end. Consonant, vowel, consonant. The vowel is closed off. And the open vowel sound says its name. It screams its name because the door is open. There's no consonant at the end to stop it. So this might be helpful in understanding some of those rule breakers that the children have learned so far, such as the sight words go and we and he. So why don't those follow the rules? Because they are not CVC words. They don't have a closed consonant at the end to make that vowel in the middle short vowel sound. So it says its name. It says a long sound. Here are some examples and how you might apply this to some basic two-syllable words. As I said before, when you say a one-syllable word, oftentimes what we do with the children is clap it out. So kit, kite. You hear just one syllable for that word or those words. So the closed syllable is one vowel followed by one or more consonants. The consonant closes in the syllable like a door, and the vowel sound is short. So for example, g-ob, gob. That vowel sound is closed, so the consonant closes in that vowel sound, so we say the short vowel sound, g-ob. Another example is g-ot, got. Okay, so moving on to the open syllable. Open syllable is one vowel followed by no consonants. The syllable is open and the vowel can scream its name. Go. Go. There's no consonant there to close that off. And I just noticed that where I received these that should be no apostrophe there, so sorry for that. Here we go, back to this. Here's an example of a two-syllable word that we have a closed sound, short, where it's making the short vowel sound, and then an open syllable with the long sound. So let's clap out the syllables. Bingo. So we've got bingo. And when your child is sounding this out, think about that first syllable, bin, b-in, bin, and then look at the end here. We don't have a consonant at the end. It's open, so it says its name, go. So in the second syllable, we have that long sound. And I'm going to give you an example of where this is reversed. So we're going to have an open syllable at the beginning in the first syllable and a closed syllable at the end of the word at the second syllable. And that is hotel. Hotel. We have the open syllable for the first syllable, and there's no consonant there stopping it or closing it off. So we're going to say the long vowel sound, ho, and then here we go, tell, tell, because we have the consonant right there blocking it off. So that's an example of how you would use open syllables and closed syllables. More often than not, you're going to be using this when decoding or when trying to sound out some two-syllable words as your child is advancing into multisyllabic words. As I stated before, this is definitely a skill for students who have moved beyond just basic, simple reading of consonant, vowel, consonant words. So another example, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is definitely something your students are going to be learning in first grade. They spend a lot of time on this with their phonics program, and that is vowel digraphs. Our friends have learned that digraphs are two letters, two consonants that are put together to make a one sound. I misspoke there. I said consonants, but in this case, these are vowel digraphs. So the children learned about consonant digraphs with th making the th or th sound, or sh, sh, instead of the s. Separately, they're blended together to make one sound. Here we have vowel digraphs, often called in first grade vowel teams. And you may have heard this when you were growing up. When two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. Now, you know, as the children advance up in the upper grades, this rule doesn't always apply, but as they're introduced to phonics, this is a simple rule that helps them progress in their reading and looking for those patterns. So it doesn't always stick to this. There are definitely rules out there that change it, but as we're moving on to this stage of their reading, this is something that helps them kind of remember it. So here you see this team together, the E and the A, and the E is saying its name, and it's saying the long sound E. So for this, I gave some examples. I gave 3 different vowel teams or vowel digraphs, EA, OA, and AI, just to give you an introduction into that. And on each of these, I have some examples of some words that the children could practice. You see, it's very much those one syllable words: beat, heat, neat, as you see here. So they're similar to the CVC words that the children are comfortable with. However, we have the vowel team in the middle that is making the long sound rather than the short sound, because these 2 letters, these 2 vowel digraphs, work together to make that one sound, that initial vowel sound. So I gave some examples the children might be able to practice reading with the EA, OA, and here we even have some more advanced with the ST, st, which is a blend at the end, and a blend at the beginning with full, float, and the AI. Again, some of them are just the simple consonants at the beginning, at the end, and some of them do have some blends, which I did introduce in an earlier video, the L blends and R blends. But at this time of the year, some students are advancing toward this, others are not. This is just some information to help you move your child forward if they're finding success with those consonant, vowel, consonant patterns in their reading.